Okay, hi everybody. It's Christi and I'm broadcasting from Italy, Diano Marina, Italy, and we've been having such a great time. And today I'm here to present Christie's Clarity, and it's such a great subject today. It's like exactly perfect for what we're talking about, what I'm experiencing here in Italy with my group. It's like the set point. What is your current set point and what is your new set point? So what does that mean, and how does it relate to both my being here in Italy and the for you wanting to discover what your new set point is? So as you heard from last week, I am using my book Beyond the Box and the 12 chapters in that book to talk about this next 12 weeks. And I used the art elements to describe the life principles in order to create a life that you just love living. Now, today we have had amazing weather. I'm going to just show you out the window here for a second. And today is our first windy day, but I want to show you this. Can you see? Yeah. There is the view out our window, and that little village back there that you can kind of see the church in, that is Cervo. We actually lived in Diana Marina, in this area for a while, and we lived in the town of San Bartolomeo, which is next to us here. And then our son went to preschool in Cervo and when he was 4, and he's now 24. So that was like 20 years ago. So we have family that live around here. And see, we were painting today. I have paint all over my hands. So what does that have to do, and what's the point that I can give to you? Well, think about your life right now. What is it like? What's going on? Where are you? That's your current set point. That's what you have currently created for your life and where you are. And you can measure that. If you don't know exactly what that is, you can measure that by looking around you and seeing what's going on. That's your current set point. And then you can start to dream. And some people have a hard time dreaming. And I actually had a client I was working with the other day, and she just said, I just can't even figure out what is mine to do in the world. What are things to do? And we started talking about, first I explored with her what was her childhood like, what did she dream of being, but then we started talking about how she was with raising her family and things like that. And all of a sudden we came up with the guidelines, the things that were hers to do in the world and that she would love to do and create more of. And it was such a resonance that I knew that this was her story, her place to be, her gifts to give in the world. And so you can start dreaming like that. So how does that apply to this? Well, I've taken first teenagers to foreign countries for cultural understanding, and then I started taking adults. The last it was 5 years ago, I started taking adults for spiritual transformation or exploration. And the first group I took was to Ireland, and the next group I took was to Scotland. And then I decided I wanted to do a tour to the Italian Riviera here, called the Riviera di Fiore, which is the western part of the Italian Riviera, because that's number one where we lived, and number two where our cousins live. Our Italian family lives here. And one of the things that I discovered when we lived here was a different type of living, and it only enhanced what I believe of in living life, like living life to the fullest and dreaming and being happy and really enjoying family and the good values that people have in life. And so I dreamed that I wanted to bring a group here to the Italian Riviera, and I booked it for, like 2 years ago. And we all know what happened 2 years ago, right? So I had to postpone it. And I did have a small group of people that had already said they wanted to go. And then when things began opening up, I started to plan again. Well, then things changed and it still didn't work, but I still worked with the hotel and the cousins and all the transportation company and everything that I wanted to work with, and they were very, very understanding and helpful with, COVID affecting things and when would we be able to come and so forth. And so finally, you know, a lot of things said maybe, maybe not. And a lot of people didn't understand why maybe I wouldn't cancel the trip and wait until it's safer. But there's an inner urging within me. And I really felt, and I talked with the other people, and they really felt they wanted to travel. So I looked into how safe things were here in the country. I got the numbers, I talked with the family members, things like that. And I will tell you, I feel completely like I took care of the business ahead of time to see if it would be a good thing to do. And 8 of us have traveled to Italy, and what a special time we've been having. It's been so incredibly awesome. So first of all, the weather report said, oh, rain and cloudy weather. Well, we actually are having a windstorm right now, and the waves are big, and all the surfers here are out playing in those big waves, and we're cozied up. Let me show you this front view here of our window, what we're looking out on. We have a terrace out there, and we're just sitting here in our cozy little place, just enjoying life. Now, so I had a set point, right, of paint on my hands, okay, that I wanted to take a group to Italy and paint and wander and write and discover the sweet life of Italy. Okay, most people go to Italy and they want to go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa and the Sistine Chapel and things like that. Those are all wonderful things, and I really encourage people to do that. But what I really love was we carved out 10 days here to experience the sweet life. Like, what is it about? And I had one of the travelers today, she said to me, I have just loved everybody I have met. They are so sweet and kind, and there's just something about how they live life, full of joy, full of and I said, that's exactly it. It's hard to explain, but that is the sweet life of the Italians and what they know. And one of the things that I discovered when we were here, 20 years ago, was that they actually worked to be with their family. They worked in order to live. They worked in order to play. Okay, so working was only a means, and there's a lot of people that, they did things they loved and things like that, but it wasn't so much like to get ahead and to make their careers and believe me, I'm wanting to make my career here, but there was something different about putting their values first: family, kindness, eating around the table together and things like that. And I wanted to share that with people. And so 8 of us have been traveling now this was day 4, and we have had amazing journeys. And everybody, we're exhausted, a little tired, because touring does that. But today we went up to this wonderful town called Piaveteco, and we got out the paints and we set up in a little piazza, and we did some fun little paintings, a few little glitches. I had bought gesso over here, and the gesso is not like our gesso, it's kind of clear. So I hadn't bought any white paint. So the paintings were unique and unusual, but we all had a great time. And those that didn't want to paint, it was a wonderful town to wander around. Well, next we went up to this winery that was in this little village, and it was just like walking into somebody else's family was a lot of it. And we got to go up in the vineyards, those that wanted to do that. Some of us sat and did some drawing and sketching. And one of the things about stopping to paint and or wander. So a few days ago we went to another town called Bogamato, and there's one, a couple people here. Not everybody has to paint, not everybody even has to write. That's why I say paint, write, or wander. And she went up and wandered and discovered so many like unique things. She found a place where they washed, it was almost like a cave or a grotto, but it was a place where they wash their clothes still to this day, at this little wash area outside a cave, with the ability to wash their clothes there. And it's just like, she wouldn't have done that if it would have been, oh, here's the beautiful bridge, let's see the beautiful bridge, there's the river, there's the mountain, let's go, right? And that's how most people travel. Let's go. But I set this set point. So getting back to the point of what your new set point is, begin to dream. Allow yourself to dream, and to, sadly, most people don't bring their dreams to fruition, right? There's so many things in life that tell us that we can't do this, and money tends to be one of them, right? And I want you to remember that money is just a vehicle for you to experience the freedom to do what you would love to do, and to serve in the world, and to create. It's not to make money. We really don't want the money. We want what the money brings us. And so I want you to dream. What did you want to do as a little girl or little boy? What do you want to do when you were raising your family? And what was your great gift that you gave to your children or in your job or whatever? And then dream, what would you truly love? I mean, if money was off the table, you didn't need the money, okay? Because that's what stops, that's the how that stops so many people. Okay, well, I guess, so dream, and then set your new set point. And next week, I'll still be in Italy, and I will be talking about the set point. I will be talking about, well, let's say how to take the steps in the direction of your dream. How do you navigate from here to there? Okay, so look forward to seeing you next week. Arrivederci, ciao, ciao, ciao. They all love the travelers. I go, it's a ciao, 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 ciao. And it's not just ciao, it's ciao, 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 ciao. Okay, loving hanging out with you while I'm here in Italy, and see you next week here on Christi's Clarity. Live the sweet life yourself, and at least, very least, dream about the sweet life. Okay, see you next week.